Today, I want to talk about where to start with respectful parenting. And whether you are an expecting parent or you have been a parent for a few years already, it's absolutely never too late to start. Hi, it's Anna here. Welcome back to my channel, the best place for parents or educators who want to learn and evolve with their children. Sometimes people do a lot of research into respectful parenting before having kids, which is absolutely amazing. But personally, I didn't look into respectful parenting until I had a 4 and a 2-year-old and I was struggling badly. I basically came to a point in my parenting journey where I just really was not enjoying it anymore. And I wanted to find a better and a simpler way to strengthen the bond with my kids rather than having us fight with each other all the time. And so the reason why I'm saying this is that you've probably heard me say before in my videos that parenting is a learning experience, meaning that you just don't know what you don't know. And often you don't know about something until your experience forces you to look into it. So the reason why I'm saying all this is that there's absolutely no point having shame into not having started earlier. You didn't know and now you know and you're doing the research, and that's all that matters. So first, I will discuss what respectful parenting is. Then I will discuss the benefits of respectful parenting. And then I will give you a small exercise, which I think is the best way to start. So let's start with defining what respectful parenting is. There are so many words these days to describe the same thing that it can be so confusing. And I don't know why, but as the years go on, there seem to be even more words added to the list. But for me, positive parenting, respectful parenting, gentle parenting, peaceful parenting are all one of the same. They all mean the same thing. And the funny thing is that you might think it is a new approach to parenting that has exploded in the past few years. But it's not. It's authoritative parenting, which is a concept that was developed in the 60s. And if you want to learn more about the 4 different parenting styles that have been heavily researched, I really recommend you watch this video where I explain them in detail. Research in the 60s proved that this style of parenting had the best outcome for children, including better emotional health, social skills, more resiliency, and more secure attachments with their parents. And I think the reason why so many new words have popped up is because authoritative really doesn't mean much to most of us. And it's also way too closely linked to authoritarian, and a lot of people confuse the two. Also, I'm not a big fan of gentle parenting or peaceful parenting in terms of language, because in my mind, this is why a lot of people incorrectly assume that this style of parenting is too permissive. Words do carry a lot of meaning and assumptions when you don't fully understand what this approach is about. So in a nutshell, respectful parenting is when parents view their children as full people too. And as such, they deserve to be respected, supported, loved, heard, and valued. It can be best described as being responsive, nurturing, and involved. You are attentive to your child's needs and very nurturing in how you respond. But it's absolutely not a permissive style of parenting, because you also do have high expectations and clear and firm rules. It's just that your expectations are realistic because you understand child development and your child's abilities for their age. And your limits are in place to help your child rather than to punish your child. So for me personally, I see it as working with my children rather than against them. And also I see it as thinking that our child is inherently good and not assuming that they are doing something on purpose to annoy us, or that I need to really squash their behavior, otherwise they're not going to turn out into a well-adjusted adult. And just being real here, because I don't think enough people talk about this, but respectful parenting is definitely harder because it is a long-term approach to parenting where your long-term goal is to educate them and help them into becoming well-adjusted people. Whereas with authoritarian parenting, which is punitive parenting, you get results much faster. It's a short-term goal of getting them to comply because basically they are scared of you and they just want to comply and listen to you. And it's also harder because we haven't been parented like this, so it won't come naturally for most of us. And I also think that a big part of respectful parenting that a lot of people don't understand is that the relationship has to work for both of you. So your needs matter as much as your child's needs. It's just that your job is obviously to meet your needs. It's not your child's job to do that. But it's also very important to come to a place with your rules and your boundaries where the relationship is enjoyable. You're actually enjoying spending time with your child and being with each other. So it's definitely not martyrdom and not perfectionism where you do everything for your child to meet their needs 100% of the time. It just doesn't work that way. Just think of any of the other healthy relationships in your life. I should say healthy is a very important part here. And think about how it works for you guys. Usually, a relationship with two adults that work is a relationship where both of our needs are met. And so this also means that there is no one size fits all with respectful parenting, because our needs from one family to another and our values from one family to another are going to be different. So we can take the overarching principles from what research is telling us, but at the end of the day, we should really tailor it so that it works for us as a family. So now let's discuss the benefits of respectful parenting. Why are we even doing this? Well, there are so many benefits. And the major benefit for me is that it improves the parent-child relationship. The bond that I have with my children is incredible. It's a deep connection where they truly believe that I have their best interest at heart, even when I hold firm boundaries, and that I have their back no matter what. I'm telling you, our relationship now and our relationship 5 years ago has completely transformed for the better. And because of this deep bond, the secondary benefit is that my children actually want to listen to me more and comply to my rules a lot more because they want to please me a lot more. And so their negative behavior has diminished as well. And it makes so much sense when we put ourselves in their shoes. Because if my partner, for example, is angry and moody and not very nice to me, I'm not going to really want to do a lot of things for him. Or if I do, I'm going to be very resentful and it's going to impact our relationship. So it's exactly the same for our children. Another benefit as well is that I've really noticed that our communication has improved on both sides. I have learned to be a lot more clearer about what I need and what I want. And because I've modeled this, they have also learned to do the same in return. So it's become a lot easier as they've grown for them to tell me what they actually need. Another benefit that I've seen is that my kids are a lot more confident and happy, although happy is probably not the right word that I want to use. It's more that they feel accepted, because a big part of respectful parenting is actually acknowledging and accepting them despite their unwanted behaviors and feelings, right? So they do feel seen and accepted despite their flaws. So it means that they feel a lot more confident in their own skin. And also, it has really helped them develop a growth mindset because they understand that all feelings are okay, it's the behavior that's not okay. And I always tell them that, we are here to learn. I'm learning, they're learning, and we are learning together. So I'm there to support them into getting there. And at its core, basically, it's teaching them and me as well to really love ourselves for who we are, despite our flaws. It's actually the quickest way to self-love, really. And because a big part of respectful parenting is teaching them emotion regulation and a rich vocabulary of emotion, I really feel that they are so much more attuned to their feelings. And as a result, so much more emotionally intelligent. And the final benefit is so worth it because even though this style of parenting is harder, it's also what makes parenting so much more enjoyable. Because at the end of the day, why are we even having kids and raising them? We want this relationship to be mutually beneficial, where we really love spending time with each other and use each other as opportunity for growth. So now I wanted to give you some pointers on where to start on your respectful parenting journey. And just to start with, I just wanted to let you know that obviously it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be quick. It's going to take some time because you haven't been parented that way and you haven't parented that way up until now if you already have kids. So you are likely wired a certain way. So it takes time to rewire the neural pathways in your brain, but it's totally possible and it just takes practice. So you just have to have faith and patience. And I'm here to tell you that it works because I've done it. It really does work. And I'm a huge believer that small practical steps towards change are a lot less overwhelming and so much more sustainable. So just be patient with yourself. Do this exercise that I'm about to give you every day for the next month, and I assure you that by the end of the month, you will have seen small improvements. And by the end of the second month, it's going to be even better improvements. So first, what I've come to realize is that respectful parenting is above all a mindset. So it all starts with shifting our perspective to understanding that we all have good reasons for acting the way we do, even when we don't act right. And that goes for both you and your child. So the exercise that I want to give you today is to become an observer of your family dynamic. You most likely won't be able to stop yourself from reacting straight away, but I encourage you to sit down and take 10 minutes at least to reflect on the day's events every day at the end of each day. And ask yourself the following questions. You can either write them down in a journal or simply think about them or discuss them with your partner. Why did my child act this way in this particular instance today? What were their needs? Were they tired, hungry, overwhelmed, needing my attention? How would have I liked to be treated if it were me? Why did I react this way to his behavior? What were my needs? Am I being triggered based on my past childhood trauma or because I'm exhausted, stressed, etc.? How can I take care of my needs better? How could I act differently next time? A big part of it is actually prevention. So think about what you could do differently ahead of time to avoid your child becoming overwhelmed. And also think of ways you could have handled it differently once a tantrum occurred. Could you step away to regain your composure? Could you ask your partner to take over? Could you acknowledge your child's feelings? So when you repeat this exercise every day, it gives you so much more space and understanding about you and about your child. But also, next time, it might actually be easier not to react because you've gone through these exact scenarios on so many occasions on paper or in your head. So next time a similar scenario occurs, it will be front of mind. So just to reiterate, this exercise and this practice takes time, but the results are so worth it for both you and your child. And the great thing that I've found with respectful parenting is that once you get to this place within your own family dynamic, it actually has ripple effects on all the relationships in your life. Whether it's with your partner, your friends, your family, your colleagues, everyone benefits. So just give it a go and let me know how you go. And just know that it's never too late to start. Don't feel any shame if you haven't started before, you haven't ruined your kids. Just start today. You will see the benefits in no time. And if you are really struggling with childhood trauma, where you are really being triggered and this exercise is not enough, I really encourage you to actually see a therapist. It's really worth it. That's it for today. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and please leave me a comment and let me know how you go with this exercise. I'd love to know. Thanks for watching and keep growing.